You're standing in your kitchen. It's 7 a.m. on a Thursday. The coffee is brewing, the house is quiet, and for a brief moment there's peace. You take a sip and glance at your phone, opening your banking app. You see the number. It's not a bad number. It's not a great number. It's just, the number. It's the same number more or less that was there last Thursday. And you feel that familiar, quiet hum of confusion. You got a raise 6 months ago. You've been trying to be good with money. So why does the number just float? Why does it feel like you're running on a financial treadmill, putting in the effort but never actually moving forward? You close the app, take another sip of coffee and get on with your day because figuring it out feels like a bigger job than you have time for. Here's what nobody tells you about that feeling. That feeling of being stuck isn't because you don't earn enough money. It's because you don't have an honest map of where that money is going. We're not talking about budgeting. Not yet. We're talking about something deeper. We're talking about the invisible script that's running your financial life, a script written years ago that you've never actually read. Today, we're not just going to read that script. We're going to tear it up and write a new one. We're going to look at the 4 phases of taking control from financial fog to intentional living. And I promise the trap at each stage is never what you think it is. It's not the daily coffee. It's something much quieter and much more expensive. This is where most people live most of the time. Let's call this person the estimator. The estimator is 28 years old, makes a decent salary around $65,000 a year. They don't have a budget, they have estimates. They think they spend about $400 a month on groceries. They think they spend about $150 on utilities. They think subscriptions cost them maybe $50 a month. They pay their rent, they pay their car payment, and whatever is left over is for life. The problem is, life is a very vague expense category. When their car needs a $700 repair, it's a crisis. They dip into their small savings, feel a pang of guilt, and promise to be better next month. But being better is not a plan. The trap here isn't irresponsibility. The estimator is not a reckless person. The trap is mental accounting. It's the belief that you can keep a complex, multi-thousand-dollar monthly cash flow organized in your head. You can't. A 2017 study found that people who actively track their expenses save significantly more than those who don't, even with the same income. What? Because the human brain is terrible at remembering the small leaks. You don't remember the $7 you spent on a smoothie, the $15 Amazon purchase for something you forgot you needed, the $4 convenience fee. The financial system is specifically designed to exploit these small, forgotten transactions. It's a death by 1,000 cuts, and the estimator is bleeding out without ever seeing the wound. The exit from this phase isn't earning more money. It's simply turning on the light. This is the hardest, most uncomfortable, and most important phase of the entire journey. Our character is now the tracker. The tracker, still 28, finally decides to stop estimating and start tracking. For 30 days they write down everything. They connect their accounts to a budgeting app or use a simple spreadsheet. And for the first time they see the unvarnished truth. This isn't a budget yet. This is an autopsy. You're not judging. You're just observing where the money went to die. And the results are brutal. The $400 grocery estimate was actually $680 because it didn't account for the quick trips for milk or the checkout lane chocolate. The $50 subscription estimate was $115, including 2 services they forgot they were even paying for. And the biggest shock, they spent $412 on food delivery. Not restaurants. Just the quiet, convenient, soul-crushing cost of having lukewarm food brought to their door. In 1 month, they spent the equivalent of a round-trip flight to another city on the privilege of not having to cook. The trap here isn't the spending itself. The trap is the asterisk shame. When the tracker sees these numbers, their first instinct is to feel like a failure. How could I be so stupid? I have no self-control. The shame is paralyzing. It makes you want to close the spreadsheet, delete the app, and go back to the comfortable ignorance of the financial fog. The shame tells you that you are the problem. That is a lie. You are not the problem. Your asterisk script is the problem. The script that said, "I'm too tired to cook," or "I deserve a little treat." The exit isn't self-flagellation. It's quiet, non-judgmental observation. Here's where I need you to stay with me. Because most people who get this far quit right here. They do the autopsy, they feel the shame, and they stop. The next phase is where you leave 90% of people behind. This is where you actually take back control, and it has almost nothing to do with cutting coupons. Welcome to the world of the architect. The architect looks at the financial autopsy not with shame, but with curiosity. They see the $412 on food delivery and don't say, "I'm a failure." They ask a question, What was I really buying? And the answer isn't food. It was convenience. It was time. It was relief from the stress of a long workday. So, the architect doesn't just say, "I'll stop ordering food." That's a willpower-based solution, and willpower is a finite resource. Instead, they design a system. They start meal prepping on Sundays. Just 2 hours of cooking gives them 4 ready-made lunches for the week. They create a too-tired-to-cook emergency plan, a frozen pizza and a pre-made salad costing $10, not $40. They are now building their first real budget. This isn't a restriction. It's a permission slip. They use a method like the 50/30/20 rule, 50% for needs, rent, utilities, 30% for wants, dining out, hobbies, and 20% for savings and debt repayment. They automate the 20% savings. The money moves into a separate high-yield savings account the day they get paid before they can see it. The trap here is perfectionism. The architect's first budget won't be perfect. There will be a month where they overspend on wants because of a friend's wedding. There will be an unexpected expense. The perfectionist mindset sees this as a failure of the budget. It's not. A budget is not a rigid cage. It is a GPS. If you take a wrong turn, the GPS doesn't scream at you and shut down. It just calmly recalculates the route. The exit is to treat your budget like a scientific experiment. You have a hypothesis, you test it for a month, you look at the data, and you adjust. This is the goal. Our character, now the investor, has been living with their budget for a year. It's no longer a chore, it's second nature. They don't check it every day. They have a monthly meeting with themselves, a money date, for 30 minutes to see how things went and make small adjustments. The extra money they found by plugging the leaks, the food delivery, the forgotten subscriptions, is now working for them. It's going into their 401k to capture the full employer match. It's going into a Roth IRA. The money that used to vanish into a fog of small, meaningless purchases is now buying them something real. Time. It's buying their future freedom. When they do choose to spend money on a want, like a vacation, it's completely guilt-free. They're not worried it should have gone to a bill because the bills are already accounted for. They're not using a credit card and hoping for the best, because the money was saved in a dedicated vacation fund. The spending is intentional. It aligns with their values. The trap at this level is surprisingly seductive. Over-optimization. It's the feeling that you could be saving even more. You start wondering if you should switch to a cheaper brand of toilet paper or cancel a streaming service you genuinely enjoy. You risk becoming so focused on the numbers that you forget the point of the whole exercise. The point isn't to die with the biggest possible number in your bank account. The point is to use money as a tool to build a life you actually enjoy living. The exit is to remember that a budget's purpose is not to maximize savings. It's to maximize life.